Hello everyone. At 48, Jaleel White, the beloved face behind Steve Urkel, has finally broken his silence on the heartbreaking final words of his longtime friend, Malcolm Jamal Warner. And what he revealed, it's not just emotional, it's explosive. Their bond ran deeper than most knew. Forged in the fires of child stardom and Hollywood's harsh spotlight, now Jaleel is speaking out. Not with gossip, with truth, with grief, with guilt, and with a chilling message that has fans everywhere asking, what really happened to Malcolm? Stay with us, because once you hear what Jaleel shared, you won't be able to forget it. 2 days before his death, Malcolm Jamal Warner checked into a quiet lakeside retreat in upstate New York. It was a familiar escape, a sanctuary away from the noise of Hollywood, where he could reflect, heal, and breathe. He had just wrapped a deeply personal project, a spoken word and jazz fusion album. According to his assistant, he seemed calm, even content. That morning, neighbors saw him strolling along the water, coffee in hand, headphones on, lost in thought. Later that day, round midday, he was seen again, shirtless, slowly wading into the lake, something he did often to swim and meditate. But after that, silence. No movement, no signs. Just stillness. At 3:27 p.m., a hiker saw a body floating in the lake. Emergency crews arrived quickly and pulled Malcolm Jamal Warner from the water. Despite attempts at CPR, he was pronounced dead at a local hospital. The cause, accidental drowning. No injuries, no trauma, but the silence surrounding his final hours raised questions. He was a trained swimmer, even certified in lifeguarding. So how did he drown in a calm lake he knew so well? Between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m., his phone showed no activity, no text, no calls. Just a Bluetooth speaker on the dock, still softly playing jazz. Then came the unsent text drafts. One to Kashia Knight Pulliam, who played Rudy Huxtable on The Cosby Show, read, "You were the light on set. I'm sorry I faded into the dark." Another to an unnamed friend said, "If I disappear, don't blame anyone." The tide just pulled too hard this time. His final Instagram post featured a dimly lit microphone. The caption read, "Sometimes the silence is louder than any stage." The entertainment world mourned. But behind the tears were whispers. Those closest to him knew something was off. Over the last few months, he had grown distant, canceled plans, sent short, vague texts. He seemed to be fading. And then came Jaleel White. Best known as Steve Urkel from Family Matters, Jaleel White broke down in tears during a live interview. "I grew up looking up to him," he said. "He meant more to me than most will ever know." What many fans didn't know was that Malcolm Jamal Warner and Jaleel White shared a close bond. They met in 1990 at a celebrity basketball game. Malcolm, already a star from The Cosby Show, took the then 13-year-old Jaleel under his wing. That moment sparked a mentorship that lasted over 2 decades. Malcolm encouraged Jaleel to break free from the Urkel image, to write, to direct, to tell his own stories. They even began developing a secret web series, a gritty drama about the former child stars navigating life after fame. That series may never be completed. But there was something even bigger. Malcolm Jamal Warner had been working quietly on a docuseries titled The Price of Legacy. Its focus, the exploitation of young black actors in Hollywood. He wasn't just hosting. He was producing, directing, and digging deep. Sources confirmed that the project included interviews with major names, some of whom spoke of abuse, discrimination, and blacklisting. He told one assistant, "I want to burn this town down with the truth." But after his death, everything related to the series vanished. His laptops, hard drives, even his personal journal gone. The same journal his cousin said he saw on the nightstand. Just days before, there was more. A voicemail had been sent to Malcolm just 3 days before his death. It said only, "You're next." That message was deleted before police could retrieve it. Surveillance footage from his backyard, wiped between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. Was this really an accident? In an emotional livestream, Jaleel White revealed something chilling. Malcolm told him about a list of powerful individuals in the entertainment industry who were manipulating young black talent. That list is now missing. Enter Regina King. She and Malcolm Jamal Warner shared a deep, complicated history. Once romantic partners, they had transitioned into a bond that was even stronger, an enduring friendship built on trust, respect, and quiet understanding. When news of his death broke, she was one of the first to arrive at his private memorial service in Pasadena. Witnesses described her as shattered, moving through the room as if carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. When she finally reached the casket, the room seemed to hold its breath. Regina leaned down, her trembling hand resting gently on the polished wood. She whispered something soft, almost inaudible. A mourner nearby caught fragments, but not enough to fully understand. Those few hushed words sent chills through the gathered crowd. The atmosphere shifted, heavy and cold. Some believed she was saying goodbye to the man she loved and lost. Others whispered it was something more, a secret, an accusation. A final warning aimed squarely at the very industry that had celebrated him in life, but abandoned him in death. When she stepped back, tears streaming, the silence that followed was deafening, a silence that spoke louder than any eulogy ever could. What happened next only deepened the mystery. Regina King disappeared from public view. No interviews, no tribute post, no explanation. She deactivated all her social media accounts and halted production on her upcoming project. A source close to her told People magazine, "Regina is scared. She doesn't trust anyone right now. She believes Malcolm didn't just die, he was silenced." The question echoed across the internet: was he silenced for something he was about to reveal? Meanwhile, the cast of The Cosby Show, the show that made Malcolm Jamal Warner a household name, responded in fragmented tones. Some spoke, others stayed hauntingly quiet. Felicia Rashad, who played his mother Claire Huxtable, broke her silence with a cryptic message. It was short, poetic, and eerily suggestive. Fans immediately dissected every word. What was the silence she referenced? Was it grief or secrets? Was Malcolm burdened by something he couldn't say? Kishia Knight Pulliam, known as Rudy, posted nothing at all. No public statement, no appearance, no comment. Insiders claimed her silence wasn't just from mourning, it was fear. Fear of what could happen if she said too much. And then there was Bill Cosby, the former patriarch of America's favorite TV family, who released a cold, calculated statement. No emotion, no memories, no sense of personal loss, just a mechanical response that many felt was more about public relations than genuine grief. Insiders later revealed that Malcolm had been working on a memoir, a raw, unfiltered account of his time on The Cosby Show. It was supposed to cover not only his personal experiences, but also what he saw behind the scenes, the power dynamics, the secrets, the pain. But when word of the book spread through industry circles, something changed. He suddenly stopped writing. The project went dark. Coincidence or threat? As the dust settled from the funeral, a powerful wave of remembrance swept the nation. Candlelight vigils lit up cities from Los Angeles to Harlem. In Harlem, a massive mural of Theo Huxtable appeared, bright, full of joy, wearing that signature smile. Underneath, the words, "Theo taught us to dream," and out of that mural, a movement began. The hashtag Theo Forever started trending worldwide. But it wasn't just about nostalgia, it became a digital space for healing, for truth, for vulnerability. Black men of all ages took to social media to open up about pain they had buried, childhood trauma, career struggles, mental health battles. Malcolm's death had broken a dam. One user wrote, "He made it okay to feel, to cry, to be soft in a world that demands we be hard." Another shared, "I'm not just mourning an actor. I'm mourning every time I was told not to speak, not to feel, not to break, even in death." Malcolm Jamal Warner gave people permission to speak their truths. At his funeral, his final poem echoed through the cathedral, a voice soft but full of weight. "If I leave with no goodbye, remember the rhythm, not the silence. Remember the fight, not the fall. And when you speak my name, speak it like music." And the world listened. Bet, TV1, and PBS quickly announced tribute documentaries to celebrate his legacy, not just as Theo Huxtable, but as a poet, a mentor, a visionary. At Howard University and Morehouse College, professors began developing new media and ethics courses using his life as a case study. Because Malcolm Jamal Warner didn't just play a character, he embodied a revolution in silence. A defiant whisper against the noise of exploitation, typecasting, and Hollywood's ruthless machine. Yes, he left behind unfinished projects. The album, the web series, the memoir that never saw daylight. But what he gave the world, it's still unfolding. His truth, his voice, his courage, it lives on in murals, in hashtags, in candlelight, in classrooms, in every black man who now stands a little taller, speaks a little freer, and heals a little deeper. Malcolm Jamal Warner was more than a memory, he was a message. And we're still hearing it. Malcolm Jamal Warner's legacy lives on in truth, in rhythm, in every life he touched. If his story moved you, like, share, and keep his voice alive. Let the world know he wasn't just Theo, he was a revolution. In silence, speak his name with love. Theo forever. Thanks for watching.